What's going on, TCG fans? This is going to be a deck analysis of a deck that I just started running. It's like the third deck that I made. It's probably one of my favorites. It's standard unit deck, but the basic theme of the deck is basically popping your opponent's forwards up, so then you could swing in for the kill and deal damage. So starting off, we have Gadget. He's just kind of a last addition that I put in the deck. He's a temporary little buff. Basically, when you play him to the field, you can play another fire forward of 2 or less. Basically, probably just another Gadget, but that would probably make no sense because there's already a Gadget. So that doesn't really work in that sense, but having him out boosts everyone up 1,000, so little temporary buff. So that's cool. Warrior of Light is probably the most important card in this deck. It is a supporter in a sense where it boosts everyone up, every standard unit up by 2,000 and gives them first strike. This is really important because if you have an 8k with first strike and your opponent does, they go to head, toe to toe, and you basically receive no damage and you win that little skirmish or whatever. So, and the next card is Ranger. Ranger's good because it has haste, and that's good for the early battle. You could swing, deal damage really early, like turn 1. Plus, like in any other fire deck, it's gonna spread damage. So 2,000 to all your forwards when it attacks is pretty good. So for a 3-drop, it's not that bad. And Knight is my favorite standard unit, just for a 3-drop to have 7k, to boost it up with Warrior of Light to 9k. And then with Waka, that I'll show you later, to make it a 10k. Most of the time, Knight is sitting at 10k with first strike, so that's a beautiful thing, especially the fact that you can have 3 of them out, so that's pretty cool. Another favorite card of mine is Samurai from Final Fantasy Tactics. Basically, when you're at the end of the game and you have 5 points of damage already, which already sucks, but if you do, she has Brave and 1,000 power, so she'll go up to 9k. With Warrior of Light, she'll go up to 11k and have Brave. Brave is such a big deal in this game. If you guys don't know, whenever you attack with your forward, you dull it. So that makes you invulnerable. That makes you vulnerable to any attacks. So having Brave, you can attack, swing, whatever, and you're still like in protect mode, so to speak. So that's a big deal. And then you have the other Samurai from Final Fantasy Tactics. He's just a little 3-drop. He continuously has Brave, so that's always a plus. It's pretty cool. Beatrix from Final Fantasy 9. She's awesome. She's from Opus 4. I later found out her ability is just phenomenal because she doesn't receive any damage from your opponent's abilities if Steiner's out. This is a big deal because if somebody attacks themselves with Shantoto, it's gonna kill everything but Beatrix if Steiner's out, so that's a big deal. Plus, just like in any other fire deck, it like spreads damage. Whenever she attacks, she'll swing for 1,000 to everyone, so that's pretty awesome. And then of course Steiner. The biggest plus is the EX burst. Basically, when he pops into the field, you search for a category 9 character, so that could be a backup or a forward in Final Fantasy 9, so that's a big deal. And basically, if any other 9 characters out, he buffs up to 1,000 more, so 7k. It is a 5 cost, so it's pretty expensive, but it's a search card, and it buffs up Beatrix, so that's kind of a big deal. That's why I only have 2 of them. 3 of them would just be way too many. Feral Chaos was a last-minute change. It's just kind of like a Rainbow Energy in Pokemon where you could just get any CP you want. So, oh, I'm sorry. That's actually the backup. But this is a forward, and basically he has haste, first strike, and Brave. So, yeah, he's pretty awesome. For 10k, it's pretty good to have. Next up, the only monster I actually have in this deck is Goblin. My type of play is usually fast and hard, so Goblin cast haste whenever you want. You could just have him chilling there. Whenever you have a forward that just came out, you basically put them in the break zone, and then they get haste immediately. So I'm running 3 of those. So Next up is Red Mage. Red Mage is awesome because I used to run Tifa in my Final Fantasy VII deck, and if you ever seen the 5-drop Tifa, she has that effect that every time she attacks, she chooses a forward of your opponent's and it cannot block. So you could do the same thing with Red Mage. And for 2 cost and dull, it's actually pretty awesome. So Yuna is a star player in this deck. It's an EX burst, so that's definitely a plus. She basically bounces someone off the field. But the biggest deal is that if a character is put from the field into the break zone, it's removed from the game. This is a big deal because there's a lot of cards that allow you to search your break zone or discard pile for another card. So once it's out of the game, it's out of the game. Braun, another Final Fantasy IX character. She's pretty essential in this deck because she searches for standard units, so that burst is a big deal. And being 3-drop, so it's pretty good. Another 3-drop water, Waka from Final Fantasy X. He basically powers up all water forwards by 1,000, so he's definitely someone you want out, so you can buff up that knight all the way to 10k. Astrologian, you choose one forward, you activate it. Once you swung, once you attacked, whatever, you pay that 2 water cost. You activate whoever just attacked, and now they're in protect mode, so that's pretty cool. And Lebra, she's just like Waka, she's just fire, so it's buffed up by 1,000. Vivi is awesome, another Final Fantasy IX character. EX burst is awesome. Just hits the field, pops 5,000, so that could be used a lot. So Black Waltz, similar like Vivi, hits the field, does damage. Now this is dependent on how many cards your opponent has, and it basically does 1,000 more. Off the bat, it's 3,000, but it could go up and up and up. So I just have one because it's very situational, but I just wanted another Final Fantasy IX character, so that's that. And then last but not least, my summons. Just like I was saying before, the theme of this deck is to pop up your opponent's forward, so you can hit for damage. And this is a star player as well. You just choose one forward and return it to your opponent's hand, EX burst, so that's pretty cool. That's probably my favorite Leviathan. And then the last card basically is Bahamut. This is probably one of my favorite of this version of this card because it takes it out of the game. It does 8,000, which is already going to break a lot of forwards, but like I said before, it takes it out of the game, so they can't search for it anymore. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about this deck and how decks are built. If you don't know, Final Fantasy TCG decks run 50 cards and you can only have 3 of. So yeah, thanks for watching.